and welcome to the 2025 Jsra season.
What a race this has been. But there is Dominic Charles now sitting in the slipstream of the Australian, maybe trying to see if he can force a mistake.
Oh, what a move by Moss on the outside of Jaden Harrison.
Hold them Kimani as the fans are out and about. John just closing off the gap to the Trinidadian.
3, 2, 1, go! Fast, sharp right. Fast, sharp right. Sharp right. Sharp right. Listen. Sabine.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to round 2 of the Le Mans Ultimate Sprint Series, brought to you by the Jamaica Simulation Racing Association. Tonight we head to the dazzling lights of the Bahrain International Circuit, where desert winds meet world-class motorsport. GT3 and LMP2 machines are ready to battle under the floodlights in what promises to be a high-speed showdown filled with strategy, bravery, and pure racing passion. After a thrilling opener last week, the championship momentum rolls into the Middle East. Get ready for wheel-to-wheel action. One of the most technical and overtaking friendly tracks on the calendar. We visit the Bahrain Circuit, 5.412 kilometers, 15 corners, 9 right, 6 left. It's high grip, abrasive. Expect tire degradation, especially in these high downforce cars. Signature events include the Formula 1, FIA WEC, and the Asian Le Mans Series. This week we are ready to go fighting. We have a few key drivers missing in action. Should be seeing them in the chat at some point. Huge shout out to Mr. Harrison there, who will not be joining us. He's not in the country at the moment. With that being said, we have a full grid again. Looking forward to the battles that will be coming and that are on the way. So Bahrain, by most or a more popular motorsports in the world, especially after the Drive to Survive series, is often the season opener for the Formula 1 as well as the season testing platform, but Bahrain is often the season finale for the WEC series. It's known for producing dramatic multi-class battles. The long straights and tight braking zones make traffic management a strategic skill here. GTs and prototypes must coexist, and that's going to be very difficult, especially this week for the LMP2s. We heard the drivers discussing it in the interviews last week. They were worried, to say the least, but nonetheless, we know the skill level that we have here. We have Casey Chapman back again, as well as Omar Escorcia and Diego Cineros. Those were putting up a battle last week, especially between Diego and Mr. Chapman from out of Trinidad. So we're looking forward to seeing that battle. But this week, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, we have a returning driver from our ACC days in Mr. Kadeem Mohammed. So looking forward to seeing what he can bring in the drama here as he currently tops the field. Will he be able to bring a little bit of action against Mr. Escorcia, who was absolutely destroying the field last week as the leader and winner of the LMP2 class? But that being said, we have about 2 minutes remaining. We have a split qualifying session underway. The first 10 minutes will go to the GT3 class, followed by the LMP2s. And then we'll have a 45-minute sprint race with no mandatory pit stops. However, the fuel burn is set to 2x, so that may lend to some very interesting strategies here. Last week it was a 3-stint package on the way, but we're looking forward to seeing what can come here this week. Maybe it was, well, let's hope that there's no safety car called like we did last week, but in the case of one, at least we know the driver's stint or strategy may either work for them in the long run or not work, but only time will tell. We will ride along board Rohan Harris, who has been practicing his pit stops. He's new to the Jsra, made his debut last week, but we've had encounters with him in the past. Very good and friendly encounters, if I do say so myself. So happy that he can finally come and show his talent here. He was rapid last week and was rapid even now, sitting in P2. We had a practice session earlier in the week and he was clean and very competitive. So we're looking forward to seeing what he can do under the bright lights of the Bahrain circuit as he heads now into the pits. We'll watch him now. He's been testing and practicing his pit stops, maybe doing a little bit of extra pit stop practice here as the qualifying session the practice session comes to a conclusion. We have 8 drivers from the LMP2 class, as well as, how much is that? I'll do my maths in a moment. Please give me a moment. But yeah, that being said, we have 8 cars in the LMP2, and I think about 24, somewhere around there. But that being said, practice session should be coming to a conclusion in only a moment's time. We ride along board with one of our favorites, Mr. Ricardo Swaby, back in his McLaren 720S. As practice comes to a conclusion, we'll have qualifying in only a few moments' time. Diego Sinera is already in the pits. Shakir Aiton, good friend there at from 7 Mile Racing, and you will not miss his car this week. Raven Plummer is back as well. Daniel Velez, AJ Martin has been sounding like he's been struggling a little bit, but hopefully can find some pace here as he continues going and going. The LMP2s are lined up in the practice session. I'm going to be dragging the drivers over for the qualifying bit, so just give us one moment, ladies and gentlemen, to get going. And ladies and gentlemen, we are out with qualifying. The GT3 classes will be up first, and we'll ride along board firstly with Mr. Wallace here, who leads the pack of GT3 cars. So right behind Mr. Wallace is Mr. Javier Brandao. He himself is a rapid driver, so we'll watch and just keep abreast of everything that's happening. And looking forward to seeing what can come in the next few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have the chance, please share the stream with your friends, with your family. Leave a like and a subscribe if you like what's happening. The racers are putting on quite a show. We are giving out some incentives at the end of this series. The likes of some iRacing codes, courtesy of our own local JMMC, the Jamaica Motoring Millennial Club, who has lent us some iRacing codes to give out to the drivers so we can even populate our iRacing championship later down in the year. But as we ride along board now with Michelle Wallace, I'll give a brief track walk. This is one of my more favorite tracks, if I do say so myself. You see him there trying to ready his tires. Javier Brandao has to back out a little bit. I'm sure would have loved to have started, and you see him there goes to overtake. So maybe is Michelle doing this to get a tow? Maybe not. No, he's allowing him to go. So Javier Brandao heads out now round the final corner to start his first flying lap, and we'll ride along board now with the Panamanian as he heads down to sector 1, turn 1, the Michael Schumacher corner. Brutal braking zone from 320 kilometers down to about 720 in the LMP2s. Sorry, to about 70, but it's a perfect overtaking spot. Sector 1 is only 3 corners, so turn 1 heads down now to turn 2, and he goes now to turn 3, and this will be a short sprint up to turn 4. And this is another high percentage overtaking opportunity. GTs are going to have to defend hard here especially, but smart traffic management can help LMP2s to clear slower cars here. 5, 6 and 7 flat or nearly flat for the prototypes. The GT3s have a slight lift. Go back on the throttle, use the outside curb, head back in, and a quick heavy braking zone now goes on the inside. Hugs that inside curb, will go wide or should have gone wide. Not sure what's going on with the graphics there, but yeah, and this is where we've seen Lewis Hamilton be overtaken by the great Fernando Alonso about 2 or 3 years ago in that Aston Martin. Now a quick run up, and this is a huge drag race. This is going to lead up to another well, overtaking zone, if I do say so myself, as you head down now to turn 8, turn 9, turn 10. It's very difficult because you have to brake while you turn very slightly. It's a left into a long right-hander now, and you'll keep that wheel as steady as possible, and then you go for a quick turn in now onto the final straight now. There's a little bit of lag. It gets me off a little bit every single time, as this is the final drag strip to the final corner. As you see Javier now heavy braking by about the 100 sign, hits the brakes. Trail brakes coming out once the car has much speed coming out to that final corner, and this will be the final straightaway now as he heads to set his first flying lap, and that will be a 204.686. Michelle Wallace right behind. Enjoy that tow. He sets a 201.781 rapid time there for the Jamaican. Ramiro Dominguez in P2 with 202.682. Mornay Deploy as well setting a rapid time with a 203.348. Oswin Wilson comes around now. Ooh, I think I might have lost track of the drivers there. Deville Park, Javier Brandao. Ricardo Swaby had to pull to the side. Not sure what happened for him there, but we'll ride along board now with Mr. Oswin Wilson as he is in Sector 2 heading up to Sector 3. And I think that's either Vince De Silva. Yep, it is. And Vince, rapid from last to second challenge last week, had a brilliant battle, to say so, for myself. Ended up battling with his brethren in well, who was it? It wasn't Javier. Javier won by quite a demanding. Ooh, and that was that Oswin Wilson? Yep, it was. Oswin lost the rear end of that Porsche and had to just hold the brakes and hope that no collision would come. Vincent De Silva would have lost a few tenths there as he comes around the final corner now. and he will be setting his time. His sector 1 wasn't rapid, sector 2 not either, so this will be the next flying lap for him that will or should set a better time. Sits now in P10 for the GT3 class. We have about 4 minutes remaining in this practice session. Right now, Ramiro though is looking rapid, improved in sector 1, 55 seconds in sector 2, so we watch to see what he can do there. Improves in there as well, trying to see if he can catch back up to the Jamaican in front of him. Ramiro rapid in the past. I'm sure we'll be putting on quite a show here this evening to see where he can finish up. He was looking good up until that pit stop that took him out of the running in the final stages of last week's race. But that being said, crosses the finish line, does improve but not enough to move him or promote him into P1. And we'll continue to ride along board with these drivers to see who is coming up. 36.9 for Vincent De Silva as he again catches up to some more lap traffic, I believe. Not sure who that was in the Ferrari, but we'll hear about that sooner than later. Was it Nathan Bryan? Yes, it was. So Nathan will be following along. Nathan back in sim racing after a long tenure in the Marines, so finally gets a break and is back with us here at the Jsra. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do here and to just get back into the mix of things. Kyle Barrett though, he started in P3 last week, was looking rapid, did have a little malfunction in his steering wheel unfortunately with the force feedback. It's a glitch in Le Mans Ultimate, unfortunately, and that glitch caused him to lose force feedback, and that forced him out to actually spin out there, unfortunately, in the race. Halfway through was looking promising as well. Purple sector 3 for Vincent De Silva, improved in sector 1 and 2, so still has some work to do. Didn't get to qualify last week, luckily can this week. We'll see him throwing a mix in the top 3. Michelle Wallace now leads. Unfortunately, I believe we should have seen Mr. Massive show up, but not seeing him on track, so unfortunately it looks like we'll be missing Mr. Kurt Moss here. I saw him in the briefing, maybe didn't get home in time unfortunately, but he's always one of those that throws that extra wrench in the screw. But right now 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths is the gap between P1 and P2. Vince De Silva pulls to the side, and that would have been his final qualifying session, because once you go around, once it's 10 minutes, if you're on a flying lap you can finish it, but if you pass it after the 10, you have to pull back into the pit, so it makes no sense. Right now, DeVille Park as well, sitting in P6, tries his best to see where he can come. Mornay Deploy, the leader over at Sim Racer's room. One of our good friends as well. You see him with the South African flag there on the rear wing of his Lexus RCF. Mornay has an epic league. I am broadcasting it from the Jsra. And trust me, that battle last week between Jaden Harrison, we had a gentleman from France. We had the likes of Declan Daniel from Trinidad and Tobago. We had Ian Lance. We had so many drivers coming in and showing their talent. It was such an epic showcase. Well, we head to the Daytona road course, and oh, there goes Rowan Harris. I think I keep turning on to persons and they're just spinning out. I feel like there's some commentator's curse coming into the mix right now. But right now the GT3's qualifying comes to an end, and the LMP2s will be heading out. As you see, Kadeem Mohammed there goes out, first driver, followed by Daniel Velez, followed by Casey Jackman, Raven Plummer right behind, Daniel Garcia right behind her, Diego Cineros, Amari Scorsia hasn't left the pits as yet. Shakir Aiton is leaving out now, so we'll watch to see what he can do, or what these drivers can do. But the GT3s should be heading back into the pits now. If they're already on a flying lap, they can finish it up. So even Mr. Wallace here, 36.583, looking rapid there in sector 1, but still not improving. So will he just make his way back to the pits? Huge, yep, there he goes, pulls off to the side. Maybe wasn't improving in Sector 2 either. Huge shout out to Nicholas Pendley, when he used to race on the ACC League in PlayStation, and his brethren over there in high grade. Huge shout out to you guys. Looking forward to seeing you guys come on the track, especially you, Mr. Pendley. Rapid driver, but I think he's afraid of the commentator's curse, as you've seen so much in the past. And as the LMP2s just warming their tires as they head to the final corner to start their first flying laps of this evening, we'll follow with Daniel Velez. Looking forward to seeing what he can do here in that LMP2. Ozzy Wilson on track at the moment. Just sent to the link for the driver camp, so if you get the chance, please feel free. We'd love to give the audience a little idea of how it looks from the spectators, or from the driver camera at least. I see yellow flags there. Saw a car literally careening into the walls. Not sure who that was, but we'll find out sooner than later, I'm assuming. I think it was either Casey or Kadeem, as those two are back in the pits now. The likes of Daniel Garcia is the next driver right behind Daniel Velez, but quite a distance behind. So right now the time to beat is a 34.696 in Sector 1, and quickly taken by Diego Cineros, 34.944 for Daniel Garcia, but we'll continue to ride along board to see what can happen there. But Diego is looking rapid as he has a purple Sector 1 so far, but Daniel not looking bad either as he is running through. Has that fast left-hander now, trail break through the corner, and then quickly into a right, left then to a right, and this is going to be where you're going to see a lot of the drivers trying to get a lot of overtaking done. 51.636 is Sector 2. We'll watch and see what Diego does as he comes around there as well, not too far behind. But Daniel now comes to the final corner. 51.452 for Diego, so he right now is the fastest driver on track. But the first to pass the line comes Daniel Velez, and he goes obviously P1 with a 154.637. We're right along board with Diego now as he comes around the final. And he quickly goes P2, 154.666. A purple Sector 3 for Daniel Velez keeps him away from the likes of Diego. Omar Scorcio is he in the server? Hopefully he is. But he was one that lent to some real, well, he dominated last week. So hopefully we'll see him come back. Saw him in a practice session. So again, Andres Mora as well had pace offline, and unfortunately for him, we lost him in the, well, we didn't get a registration from him, unfortunately. Shakir Aiton, Mr. Corral himself, the leader over at 7 Mile Racing, one of our good friends and our sponsors here at the Jsra, driver number 345, will be heading out to, well, he sets his first lap, just a Blanco, but not on pace as yet. Didn't see much of him in the practice session, but we'll surely see him. We know he's a talented driver, always lends to some real good racing. Only time will tell. AJ Martin now sits in P3 with a 159.344. Was complaining about the car. A few seconds, well, 5 seconds off the pace. Today it's not even about the time, it's just about finishing. Kadeem Mohammed though, we'll ride along board with him 34.370. Rapid sector 1. Only a tenth off of the pole and fastest lap, if I do remember correctly. As Daniel Velez even improves on his time and goes at 153.899 on his flying lap. We right along now with the Bahamian in. Kidi Mohammed comes around the final corner. And this will be a drag race now to see where he can gain an advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies, I forgot to switch over to the LMP2s. So thank you for the shout out there. Well appreciated, Stephen. But yes, that being said, we still have 4 drivers who need to set a lap. 5, as a matter of fact. Amara looks like he might be doing our last to first challenge. Not sure if he's having issues or what, but we'll ride along board to see what happens there. Casey Jackman getting in his banker lap. What time will that put him? That puts him in P7 right now. At least get a time on the board. Raven Plummer sits in the pits. Hasn't left out as yet. Kimani Eastman as well comes around. Not the rapidest or fastest lap either. Joel Santamaria as well needs to get a lap on the board. But right now, Kadi Mohammed leads on pole with a purple sector 1 with a 34.146. And he again is looking like he's going to enjoy this battle here this evening. Again, my apologies for that mishap with the GT3 times and the LMP2 times, but now you can see it. 152.572 is the fastest lap so far, set by Kadi Mohammed. He's about a second clear, 8/10 to be exact. Up on the Colombian in Daniel Velez, 49.894 in sector 2, so he is clear by a good margin. Slight lock up there in the final corner now as to try and carry as much speed now. May have lost out there, but we'll see. Did his previous sectors give him enough time? Yes, it did. A 152.060 is his fastest time. Daniel Garcia as well did just improve as he sits now in P2 for the LMP2 class. 1.5 minutes remaining. He's 7/10 off of the Bahamian driver, the Bayesian driver in Kadi Mohammed. Daniel Velez still has some work to do. Was looking rapid. Shakir Aiton sets his lap as well and now sits in P4. Casey Chapman not getting a hang of it now or yet. But we saw him last week. We know he's rapid, but it looks like maybe not getting. Again, we did know that this track and this car combo would lend to some very annoying racing, to say the least. Oh, and my apologies, spoke too soon. Casey Chapman sits in P2 and quickly heads back to the pits. Maybe not enough fuel to set another lap. But yes, as we said earlier, Casey is a rapid driver, so he sets his final position, and he will be well, for now, is in provisional P2. Kadi Mohammed as well, not improving. No, my apologies, purple sector 1. And he's still going and going and going. We need Omar and we need Jaden in this race. Casey has retired from the session, from the qualifying session, and feels, well, I'm not sure if he didn't have another opportunity. But yeah, that being said, Kadi Mohammed looking very rapid. Daniel Garcia improves on his time as well as he heads down to the final sector. Will he improve to try and take back P2? No, he won't. Kadim heads into the pits as well. Casey Chapman in the pits. Daniel Garcia as well into the pits. Daniel Velez not improving, so he himself should be heading in as well. Everybody looks like they are heading back to the pits at this point. So the qualifying session, ladies and gentlemen, is over. And what a session that was. Raven Plummer is out and she is improving in sector 1. So maybe made some setup changes there and is trying her best to see where she can place up and further up in the field. And will she be able to throw a little bit of drama here? P10 is her current position. She set a 34.9 in sector 1. 34.797, my apologies. And we'll be pushing to see where he can get, where she can get an advantage as she heads down now. Who is that? I believe that's Daniel Velez right behind her. As she pushes. Oh, saw the back end tweak a little bit right there. 52.8 for sector 2, so still about 2 seconds off, but at least enough to get into the top 10. Maybe can take a position from the likes of AJ Martin, depending on her final sector. She comes around the final corner. And we'll be hunting. And that puts her P7 to move right up in front of Kimani Eastman. And a huge damage limitation there for Miss Plummer. P7 for the American driver. Kadeem Mohammed, he himself leads the pack this evening, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll go over the starting grid in a moment's time. Raven Plummer will be the only driver on the track right now. Heading back to the pits, Omar Escorcia again hasn't driven out as yet. I'm wondering if he's on the servo. Hoping he is. But that being said, yeah, this battle looks like it's going to be very fun, to say the least. And we have 28 drivers out here this evening. Looking forward to seeing what can come. 29 if I'm not mistaken. But yes, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the field has been set. And let's go over quickly the starting order. So, from the lead in the LMP2s on row 1 is Kadeem Mohammed, followed by Casey Chapman, the two Caribbean countrymen fighting it out for supremacy this evening in row 1. But he is looking rapid here for the foreseeable future. Hearing the drivers even asking, what did he do to that setup? The Mr. Kadeem, Mr. Mohammed with the sauce, if said by the drivers in the grid. But yeah, we'll continue to read out as Kadeem Mohammed leads from Casey Chapman. In row 2 is Daniel Garcia, followed by Daniel Velez. The two Daniels lock out the second row. Followed by Shakir Aiton. Carol is my good friend, and Diego Cineros as well. Raven Plummer sits in P7, Kimani Eastman P8, the Jsra driver, hunting it down. AJ Martin, another American driver, and Joel Santamario, two drivers who will be fighting it out at the back of the pack. In row 6 for the GT3 class, starting in P1 is Michelle Wallace and the Panamanian in Ramiro Dominguez, followed by, in his debut here at the Jsra, Cesar Barahona and Kyle Barrett. Vincent De Silva and Oswin Wilson in row 8, the row right behind the two. DeVille Park and Mornay Deploy as well. We're hoping for an epic battle on the way, ladies and gentlemen. We have Rowan Harris, who did sit on the podium in last week's race, followed by Javier Brandao, who won last week's race, Nathan Bryan as well, and Rich Dial. Rich wanted his McLaren back. Unfortunately, we didn't get to switch it in time. Michael Thompson as well sits there right beside Ricardo Swaby. And we have a Johnny Wilson and Julian Narcisse to round out the grid. My apologies. We have Matthew Titus and Sebastian Rodriguez as well in P27 and P28. Omar Scorcio, Tetsuo, I didn't see him join. So I'm hoping that those are, well, I'm hoping that they would have showed up, but only time will tell at this moment. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have a 45-minute sprint race on the way. We'll just get the drivers ready. Get the streaming ready as well, as the drivers prepare to go racing. And right now we'll ride along board with Kadeem Mohammed will be leading the pack away for the LMP2. LMP2 class. We'll have the 1v1 battle going on throughout the race. We have the GT3s and the LMP2s ready to go racing. We'll start the tower back once racing has begun. We're about to go green light racing, ladies and gentlemen. Green light, green light, green light. And Kadeem is on the way. Apologies, the timing sheet is going crazy. As we head down now into turn 1, this is going to be the more dramatic place. We'll get through cleanly, luckily. We'll continue to ride along board there. The GT3s are right there on the back as well, which is absolutely terrifying if I do say so myself. The GT3s in Mission Wallace being hounded by Ramiro Dominguez right now. This battle has already begun because right behind them is a three-way battle between the Porsche and the two Lamborghinis in Vincent de Silva Calberet and Cesar Barahona. And that battle, we're seeing a little bit of yellow flags, hoping that's not a major incident. We'll look back and everything looks like it's copacetic so far. Right now, Kadeem Mohammed leads from Daniel Velez, from Casey Chapman, from Diego Cineros, from Daniel Garcia, and the battling will continue for the foreseeable future. Mission Wallace continues that lead in P1. What a battle this is going to be. And Kadeem, with the diabolical setup as I call it, is almost about 2 seconds up on the field already. Diego Cineros sitting right behind the likes of Casey Chapman. It looks like Omar did not make it to the race here this evening, so unfortunately, but nonetheless, we'll continue battling. Calberet has fallen back to the back of the pit pack. Not sure what had happened with him. AJ Martin as well. Looking like there may have been an incident. Trying to see what's happening now, ladies and gentlemen. And that looks like it may be a safety car. Safety car. Alright guys, safety car please, safety car. Leaders, just hold your... And ladies and gentlemen, we're just getting the group back. There's a few incidents. Nathan Bryan will be doing his stop and go penalty, so he'll be joining at the back of the field as well. All drivers fixing their cars will be making it back and trying to catch up to the back of the pack, but only time will tell. But we will go racing on this lap. We will go racing on this lap. Alright guys, so just a heads up. And ladies and gentlemen, we've been lent to some very dramatic starts here at the Jsra. This was one of them, as Kirill is now fighting for P1 in that LMP2 4-7-mile racing. Parks that car where he needs to park it. Diego Cineros and Kadeem Mohammed right behind, waiting on their moment to shine to gain back their positions. We had two safety cars in one moment, but luckily the GT3s could go on, and in a safe period the LMP2s could go on after. But yes, we're back with racing. Michelle Wallace leads for the GT3 class. Shakir Aiton leads for the LMP2s. Diego hunting down the likes of the Cayman driver. Kadeem Mohammed right behind, waiting on his moment to shine. Casey Jackman not too far behind either. He's looking, the Calypso Racing driver waiting for his moment. Is Rapid started off in P2 if I remember correctly. We'll continue that battle on for the foreseeable future. We ride along board with Michelle Wallace now. Well, Vincent Da Silva, because he is hunting down the Panamanian in that Lamborghini Huracan. The fight for the final podium position is on between the two countrymen. But while that goes on, we'll continue to ride along board with this trio with the quad, with Casey Jackman not too far behind. Waiting on his moment as well to shine. What a dramatic start here, ladies and gentlemen. But we're back with action, so let's get racing. So right now, the likes of the Jamaican and Rohan Harris found himself on the podium last week. Is definitely looking forward to see where he can gain an advantage here. Oswin Wilson has disconnected now that I'm looking. And that is tears. He always lends to such good racing. So sorry to see him leave. I'm sure we'll get an explanation at some point. But tears for the Guyanese driver, our good friend. I call him Jamaican. He just fits in so well here at the Jsra. But that being said, we ride along board. DeVille Park hunting down. Michael Thompson in front of him. Kurt Moss made his way onto the track. So clearly didn't do any qualifying, but found himself into the race. So happy to have him back, as a matter of fact. This battle will continue, but right now Diego took it from Shakir. And all of that happened in the blink of a second because he was just in front and lost 2 positions in one. So maybe made a little bit of a mistake there. Kadeem now, the fastest driver on track so far from the practice session at least. We'll be hunting down the likes of Diego Scenarios for that final, well, the top step of the podium. We saw the battle that he and Casey Jackman had last week. That was a battle to behold. Nathan Bryan as well, hunting down the likes of the Cayman driver and Julian Narcisse. Continue to watch and see what can happen here, but the Ferrari in between the likes of that McLaren and McLaren. Will this be some McLaren and McLaren action? Only time will tell. Vincent Da Silva still hunting down the likes of that GT3, that Huracan. In front of him, he is rapid. He started in last place last week, found himself in the top step, or the second step, my apologies, of the podium. We'll go hunting to see where he can find in these next few moments. Daniel Garcia as well is only 4/10 between himself and Casey. On board for the likes of Mr. Da Silva as he gets the slipstream now. We'll be hunting down as I head down to the Schumacher corner. Turn 1, heavy braking. Will this be his moment? He's pushing. It's a drag race. He gets the inside line. Right behind him is Javier Brandao waiting on his moment to shine. No contact. The two go in, and that was a move done. Looked like he was trying for a switcheroo, but Vincent parks the car on the inside. Now it's going to be hunted by Caesar for that final podium position. Caesar now has the likes of Javier Brandao right behind him, and Javier looking and seeing where he can find himself in this mix, to see where he can find a little bit of drama and see if he can get an extra few points. Remember, this is not just for bragging rights, although again on your own countryman it can lend to some, you know, little good feelings here and there, but for the majority we are fighting for a cash prize courtesy of Sim Racer's Room. As you see there, Javier trying to go the long way around and just takes his time, looks, tries to use every inch of that corner. We've seen moves here. It's not really the most promising, but we've seen moves there by Mr. Fernando Alonso on Lewis Hamilton in Formula 1 before. Could we have seen it again, or can we see it again this evening? Only time will tell, but that could be absolutely epic. But let's not try and enable the drivers to try those risky moves as we continue on with this battle. Kadeem Mohammed, though, has found himself on the back end of Diego Cisneros and that LMP2 race car. Kadeem was the fastest driver by about a second, if I do remember correctly. My apologies. And he is showing his pace here today, so we'll watch to see what he can do. As you look at the bottom of your screen in the 1v1 battle. Last lap time separated by 0.2 of a second. This is going to be the battle to watch for the foreseeable future. Even whilst this is happening, though, let me just take a quick look right now, because Javier Brandao is just sitting in the slipstream. Daniel Garcia as well, hunting down the likes of Casey Jackman and Daniel Velez, hunting down the likes of Mr. Garcia. So those drivers are hunting. That's going to be a battle to watch. There's so many fights throughout the field that I can't even keep up. There's a GT3 car there without a rear wing. Was that Julian Narcisses? Yes, it is. So he will be finding his way to the pits. I believe that's Shakir right there in the background as well, coming up on his countryman. We want a clean overtake, doesn't want to lose too much time. He goes around the long way around. I believe Julian should be heading to the pits now to fix any damage on that car, and yes, there he goes. But that being said, Cal Barrett, though, he was in last position at the safety car. He's making his way through and through. So we'll continue to watch that. Daniel Velez. Ooh, my apologies. Kadeem Mohammed is just hunting down the likes of the Panamanian in front of him and looking for his moment to shine. Daniel Velez as well, hunting down the likes of the two in front of him. Sees the opportunity for a podium, and this is very likely because right now Daniel Garcia is hunting down the Trinidadian and is putting the pressure on the rear end of that Oracle, LMP2 Oracle, and he is there just waiting on his moment and just looking for an opportunity to shine. Daniel Velez waits for his moment as well. Shakir 4 seconds behind them. We continue to ride along board and watch what happens with them. Looking through the field, let's mix the session data so we can get a little bit more information here. As you see, the Ford Mustang there I think that was Michael. No, it wasn't. We'll figure that out when we need to figure that out. But right, Michelle Wallace leading by a very good margin, if I do say so myself. 34 seconds, is it? No, 2 seconds. 34 seconds behind the last LMP2 car. That was a little bit of slow-mo for me. But right now, Kadeem Mohammed did make the move on Diego Cisneros. Diego is going to be hunting down now to see where he can find back a position. That move was made out to the final corner as I head down now to the likes of the GT3s. I believe that's Javier Brandao in front of them. And ooh, you see Kadeem there has to back out of it, and that's going to give Diego a good run on him now as they head down now through turns 2, heading down now to turn 3 and 4. And this is going to be the battle to watch right now, ladies and gentlemen. But Diego, will he have the pace to put a move back on Kadeem? Kadeem, that setup just looks planted as they come up to the rear of the likes of the GT3 cars, and that's not where you want to be seeing them. Diego looks on the inside, not enough to go though, and will have to concede and just hold back that position. And right now, the likes of Kadeem and Diego continue their battle on and on. Daniel Garcia lost the position to Daniel Velez. Casey Jackman now will be hunted by the Colombian behind him. So Daniel Velez is hunting and looking for his opportunity now to see where he can gain that advantage. Our good friends there over in Nova Racing. You can get all of your Moza equipment, your virtual reality equipment, all sim racing equipment through them. The #1 Moza dealers over in Colombia. One of our good friends and partners here at the Jsra. Always a pleasure to have him and always a pleasure to see what he can do. And there he goes as he takes a look on the inside of Casey Chapman. And that looks like it's going to be a move, but they're heading up right onto a GT3, and that GT3 has seen everything as they head to the final corner. Now tries to go on the inside. The GT3 concedes and just allows them through. Daniel Velez onto the final podium position. The Trinidadian has to chase. Daniel Garcia will be hunting down as well to see where he can gain back onto that podium, and is in the slipstream as he heads down now into turn 1, and they head right down now side by side, and he gets the inside line 2 places in the space of 2 corners, loses control though and has to concede that one. Casey Chapman gets to hold that position in P4. Whew, what a battle. In the middle of this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Vincent De Silva has caught up to his countryman and his teammate, and right now P2, P3, P4, all Panamanian drivers. P5, another Panamanian driver being hunted by a Jamaican, as a matter of fact, are all sitting about 6 seconds, 5.5 seconds behind the likes of Michelle Wallace. And Michelle is putting on let's call it a Verstappen-esque of a race this evening. Hopefully that doesn't bring in any commentators' curse. We want to see him win here in that BMW GT3, but Michelle is looking rapid. But as we go through that, Vince De Silva sits in the slipstream of his teammate, will obviously try and make a clean overtake, but only time will tell for him there. And we'll continue to ride along board. Daniel Garcia, 4/10. The gap between himself and Casey Chapman, so we'll continue to watch that. Matthew Titus, my apologies, has found himself on the rear end of that Mercedes-Benz, driven by Johnny Wilson, our good friend over at Cayman Islands. Another one of those from the CMF is being hunted by the Jamaican now. Matthew Titus was at the back of the field to start, has made up about 8 positions, and will continue on that battle. And again, we're getting close. I guess with 2 safety cars, we did kill or save a little bit of fuel there in the long run for the drivers who 2 seconds ago. Yeah, the drivers who would have had a strategy. So yeah, let's see how that strategy will come into play. But there goes Daniel Garcia again, looks on the inside, nowhere to go though, just throwing a dummy just to throw the likes of Casey off his feet. Let's see if he can get that momentum through the corners as they head back now through that is a battle between Matthew Titus and Mr. Johnny Wilson, but luckily no pain, no gain there. Johnny though had to concede a little bit, and that looks like a move done for Matthew Titus, and he gains that position on the likes of the Cayman driver. So one man's loss is another man's gain. That was a good move there for Matthew, and now he will be pulling away to try and gain back up. He's in P9 in the GT3 class. Kyle Barrett there as well, catches up to the likes of Cesar Barona. 5/10 gap between himself and that Lamborghini Huracan, and Rowan Harris not too far up the field. So Kyle Barrett, after having a torrid start, we saw him at the back of the pack before the safety car was called, had to fight his way through and gain back those positions. So this is not a Sunday night cruise for him at all. Had to fight for where he is. Hopefully can keep it where it is and continue his fight through the pack right now. Looking rapid as he sits in P7. And just looking through the chats now, and again, a huge shout out to everybody in the chat. Seeing the chance for Daniel Velez, one of our best friends here at the Jsra. Always a pleasure to see his fans in the arena, in the chat. Always a pleasure to see what he can do as well on track. But while I've been talking, Daniel Velez heads into the pits. So this is his pit stop. This could be the make or break for him. His pit strategy. Kadeem Mohammed as well heads into the pits. He sits there waiting. The other one is Shakir Aiton. He heads down as well. So Diego Cineros leads. He is on provisional pole at the moment, and he will continue this battle on to see where he can maintain and keep that position. And see, we have 20 minutes remaining, so you need fuel for 20 minutes. Shakir finally pulls into his pit stop. So last week, the pits is what saved some drivers and it's what killed some drivers. So we hopefully will get more value here this evening. Vince still hunting down Rohan Harris as well. Cal Barrett has made up 2 positions as he hunts down the likes now of Rohan Harris. One position, but he's hunted now by Diego Cineros in that LMP2, and that is lap traffic. You don't want lap traffic on the in lap as well, because he's trying to beat the likes of the Daniel Velez and Kadeem Mohammed, who now exit the pits. So that may have messed his strategy up just as much, but we'll see. Only time will tell, because they may be running into lap traffic at some point as well. But Cal Barrett now hunts on the likes of Cesar Barahona, and he did make the move on Rohan Harris in the drama between the LMP2's passing. So we'll watch and see and hopefully get some advantage. But right now, this was not what Diego wanted. Stuck in the midst of lap traffic, heads into the pits, and that is gonna be his strategy. Unraveled, to say the least. Michelle Wallace as well continues this battle as he forces through to continue this lead by a good 3 seconds, my apologies. What an epic battle this has been. And this is a battle that we've gotten into in round 1, and this is a battle that we get again in round 2. Casey Chapman heads into the pits as well as he comes in right behind Daniel Garcia, who just got into the pits, so didn't look like he got the best pit entry. So we'll hopefully see what can come from there. But Daniel Velez now is running and he wants to get through. It looks, does he have a stop and go penalty or a drive-through penalty? Maybe sped in the pits, but seeing a red line at the top of his screen. So that could be his race unraveled after an absolutely epic start to this race. And that is going to be drama here as they come through to try and get back to pass. But Diego is leaving the pits, ladies and gentlemen. So he clearly didn't change for tires. I believe Kadeem and Daniel did. So will Daniel head into the pits now to serve whatever it was? Yes, he will. And he comes into the pits. And that looks like a penalty that he has to serve. Unfortunate for him. That is heartbreak, to say the least, for the Colombian driver. Diego Cineros, though, dominant 9 seconds, 10 seconds from the back of the pack. Daniel Garcia, so clearly did not go for tires, didn't see the need for the tires. Casey Chapman as well hunting down Kadeem Mohammed. We said it before, the strategy can make or it can break you, and right now it's looking very much like it's going to make Diego's race this evening. And even with those the lap traffic still looks as a dominant lead. 10 seconds to go in 17 minutes. I will say that looks very promising for the likes of the Panamanian driver, but only time will tell. Michelle Wallace is in the pits now, as I believe he's the first driver in the pits now from the GT3 class. No, he had Vince and Cal Barrett as well. So we'll ride along board. Let's actually take a look at the pits. Not that, actually I don't think we can see that. So anyways, we'll focus on the racing for now, because Cal Barrett there is just waiting right behind Michelle Wallace. Michelle was leading by a dominant portion. 3 seconds was the gap between himself, but now finds himself in the pits with everybody else, who will be the first to exit, and it is Vince da Silva. So was there an incident for Michelle Wallace, because Michelle is now behind the likes of Vince da Silva, who was quite a while away back, if I do say so myself. Most of the GT3s in at the moment. But we'll continue to ride along board right now with Mr. Da Silva. Well, actually, let's look at Ramiro because he should be heading into the pit sooner than later as well. I'm assuming at the end of this lap. As you see the pit, that little wrench in the top, that means it's time for the pits, ladies and gentlemen. We have 15 minutes remaining. Ramiro will be trying to get the overcut done on his countryman, while Mr. Vincent Da Silva will be trying to get his undercut done on his countryman and teammate. So only time will tell, but right now Michelle sits right behind Vince Da Silva, so this is going to be the fight for the podium. Cal Barrett as well, he was in last place. His race looks like it may have taken a good turn because everybody in front, ooh, this looks like it could end up as a huge doozy in the ending of this race, because Ramiro and Javier are heading into the pits now. And this is going to be the race now. Caesar as well as Rowan Harris. Mornay Deploy should be heading into the pits as well next. Johnny Wilson, not sure if he had pits as well as yet, but I believe he hasn't. But right now, Vincent Da Silva is the one that we'll be watching to see if his undercut worked on the likes of his countryman and teammate. This is the race for the lead, as a matter of fact. Will this be the moment? You can actually put your votes in the chat, because right now like them, and that's a battle immediately with Caesar. No, that's not. Loses out 6 positions after a brilliant start at the start of this race, and he sits now in P6. Ramiro Dominguez leads the race for the GT3 class. This is going to continue on for the foreseeable future. Daniel Garcia was overtaken by Khalid Mohammed for P2 in the LMP2 class. Diego Cineros 10 seconds clear with 13 minutes remaining. That's going to be a hard task, to say the least, for the drivers in front. But Vincent Da Silva sits in P2 right now. P3, my apologies. Behind, it's a GT Panama grid lockout. As you can see there, Vince just has to concede to those LMP2 cars, pulling him through. But what a topsy-turvy race this has been. Strategy did not work. VAP strategy did not work for some, but definitely worked for others. Joe Santamaria on the likes of Kimani Eastman right there for the backpack final points of the LMP2 class. P7 and P8. We have 12 total for the LMP2s. The only 8 who showed up this evening. No, sorry, 10 that showed up this evening. So AJ Martin and I believe it's Raven Plummer. But Raven Plummer did have a DNF, unfortunately, and that is just tears. Because she did look rapid in the practice session. Had to fight for a qualifying session, but still. Started P7, unfortunately. Retired. But right now, 11 minutes remaining. Taking a look, still getting shots for Daniel Velez. Special Chaos, it's a pleasure. I'm glad you got a chance to watch this as well, because these drivers can surely put on a show for us. It happens every Friday. We have another race tomorrow, GT3 Championship with our friends over at the Sim Racers Room. And they have an absolutely epic GT3 class race, which I will be broadcasting. So if you can live with my voice for 2 days in a row, yeah, please feel free to stop by. That race last week was absolutely epic. We should show some highlights from it. With that being said, Sebastian Rodriguez hunts down Nathan Bryan. Nathan Bryan hunting down Kurt Moss. Kurt Moss having a quiet race this evening. He wasn't sure if he was going to make the race this evening as well. So just happy to, it's one of those moments where you're just happy to have him here. And he always into some really good racing. Nick Pendley, honestly bro, it's one of my favorite sims right now. The streaming capabilities especially with iRacing. Well, behind iRacing, if I'm being honest, but with the streaming capabilities and the battles that it lends to, you just can't complain, man. So we are looking forward to seeing you back on track. I know you're a busy man, but we always look forward to seeing you come back when you can. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, right now AJ Martin cutting through the GT3 class. As a matter of fact, LMU just had an update with the GT3 tire model, thank God. It fixed a lot of the dramatics for the GT3 class, as well as they introduced the the 2025 Mercedes-Benz, which is being driven by Johnny Wilson. I still think the BOP needs to be worked on for that car, so we will continue to look out for that next update, but they are working and we are appreciative of the work that LMU does. But on top of that, they've released the Aston Martin Valkyrie, which is, oh my word, a beautiful car to listen to say the least. It sounds amazing. I haven't driven it as yet, but you know, again, if we're going by the real life standards, we're just hoping that they will be BOP'd and it will be competitive here in the Le Mans Ultimate Series. But that being said, the fight is on. Vincent De Silva chases down Javier Brandao. It is a GT Panama podium lockout for the top three. Khadim Mohammed has dropped that 10-second gap to 8.7. So he is slowly catching up to the likes of Mr. Cisnero in front of him. But again, like, it's just such a hurdle to pass, even with the fresher tires, because I am assuming he is on fresher tires, which is why his pit stop was so much slower. We're right along board with Daniel now, with Kadim right now. 9 seconds the gap between him. He comes up to the backs of the GT3 drivers. We'll take a look now with Vincent De Silva about maintaining a 1 second gap between himself and his teammate. He has about 8 minutes remaining to try and make this move stick. So this is going to be his push time. This is his hammer time, as the, well, all Mercedes fans would have called it or heard. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you like what you're seeing, we ask you kindly share the stream with your friends and your family. Get some calls out for your favorite drivers. We did the driver of the day voting last season in the Caribbean Touring Cars. We should bring it back again for this season, but we had to allow the... Ooh, Vince is pulling over. Vincent De Silva has pulled over. And I'm not sure what's happening with him there. But Vince has stopped his car right in the middle of the track. Not sure what happened there. And it's like he can't move. Just about to call a safety car to try and get that car off of the track, but he just pulls off now. And that is a DNF for the likes of the Panama driver. Looked so rapid here this evening. And that is tears. As he was trying his best there. Did an absolute epic race. And that is him. Pull off to the side. Still, it looks like he's trying to figure out what's going on with his car. Just had to pull over, and that is unfortunate for him there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're enjoying his battle between him and Ramiro. Still a Panama podium lockout. That is tears. 6.5 seconds between Kadeem and Diego. He still tries to push. 5 minutes remaining. Will he have enough time? I think it's gonna be a little bit too short. 6 seconds. He's about a second quicker in sector 1. We'll continue to watch how that goes, but right now Kadeem is pushing the life out of those tires. There are newer tires. Will we see a drop? 52.165 for sector 2 for Diego. We'll ride along to see what Kadeem does, but that gap is dropping, ladies and gentlemen. 5 seconds now. So will we get a final lap shootout at the rate that this is going? 4.2 seconds is the gap between them. 52.1 was the gap for Diego. .034 was his time. Three and a half seconds. He's right up the field. Let's see what's happening with Diego, because with 4 minutes remaining, I get it, you had some blue flags, but could it be that those tires are fully falling off now? Could this be the strategy working out for the Bayesian driver and Kadeem Mohammed, who can see the likes of that Panama driver right in front of him? Daniel Garcia, 18 seconds behind, so he is out of the running for the top 3, but he is in the running for that final podium position. Right now the hunt is on. 3.8 seconds between Kadeem Mohammed and Diego Sunero's 3.6. That gap continues to dwindle. What will come here, ladies and gentlemen, in these next few moments? Oh my word. We'll continue to watch. But while we watch that, Rich Dial should have been in the McLaren this evening. So sorry to him. Had some issues switching over to the McLaren. The drivers do get one car swap for the season, and he wanted to move it back, but Rich looks on the inside of Matthew Titus. Too far back though. But he himself, the Cayman driver, knows exactly what to do, where to put that car and how to put that car. 2.6 seconds is the gap between Kadeem and Diego, so this is going to be a battle. 4/10 quicker in sector 1, 8/10 quicker in sector 2, so this could very well just be a time issue. Seeing that green wrench, so that means it's almost time for a pit stop. So this means that the fuel is running out for the likes of Kadeem Mohammed. Sorry, not Kadeem, my apologies, for Rich Dial, who's hunting down the likes of the Jamaican in front of him in Matthew Titus. 2 minutes remain. A little bit of Lyco might be his friend here. Let's watch on the hair. Yep, there you hear a little bit of coasting. Or not much actually. So he's still hunting, still pushing. Maybe he has enough to just cross the line. Matthew there looking a little bit swirly on the back end in the Hurricane. Wide line now for the likes of Rich Dial. Sees his prey and waits on his moment to shine. It's not the place that you're going to see the move being made, but we continue to ride along the board. But 2.4, 2.5 seconds, a minute and a half remaining for Kadeem Mohammed. Kadeem is pushing the likes of those tires out and out. He's a 10th quicker in sector 1 again. Sector 2 is where he finds up most of the time. Will he be able to dig another 8/10 out? It's 5/10 quicker in sector 3 in the last lap. Again, 1.8 seconds now. 4/10 quicker in sector 2. So that gap is dwindling. He can see the lights. This could be a final lap shootout. But is he close enough, ladies and gentlemen? 1.5 seconds to go. Kadeem Mohammed, 1.4 seconds. This is gonna be the final lap. 1.1 seconds is the gap. What is in that car? We're gonna have to pull him over and pull him into the steward room and do a check of that race car, because Kadeem Mohammed has closed that 10-second gap in 10 minutes by 1 second per lap. And he will now be hunting. You're seeing the back end just sliding as he pushes and utilizes the grip that he has from those tires. Diego will be on his toes, as he will have to go defending in only a few moments. This could be our last corner. Late move. I'm sorry, but I'm going to shut up now because I want to see what can happen here. As you hear the lockup of those front tires. And a little bit of GT3 action there. Tries to get the slipstream in. Diego knows what is up for stake. Flash, flash, flash. Stay out of the way for now. Mr. GT3 man. Trail breaks as we get into the fast left. Or long left, my apologies. Into the long right. And this does not look like it's going to be enough for him. One more lap, I'm sure. But let's never say never. But this looks like done and dusted for the Panamanian driver in front. And what a battle this has been, ladies and gentlemen. But as it stands, comes to the final corner. Diego Cisneros, it's going to be a drag race. But right now, by the looks of it, Diego Cisneros crosses the line to finish in P1, only a few mere tenths in front of Kadeem Mohammed. An absolutely epic run from the Bayesian driver. We missed him last week. He came back with all of the drama, threw it until the last end, tried to make that move stick, but not enough time. Casey Jackman as well did find himself right there on the rear end of Daniel Garcia, but Daniel could hold off to get the final podium position in P3. Casey Jackman in P4. Shakir Aiton now comes around. He looks like he'll be maintaining that P5. Daniel Velez as well will be pushing. Let's see where Ramiro is as well, because that battle isn't over for the GT3 class. Is there any battle going on? Rich was still hunting down Matthew, but not close enough. But wowzers, what a battle this has been. And right now, Ramiro, heading down to the final section of this race, has the most brilliant strategy between himself and Javier Brandao. Vincent Da Silva, he did not he did DNF, my apologies. Vincent Da Silva was in P3, had to retire that car. But for the GT3 class, Ramiro Dominguez crosses the line right now in P1, followed by his teammate from GT Panama. Mr. Javier Brandao won the race last week, comes in P2 to finish out in a dominant fashion for GT Panama. Cesar Barahona as well comes out in P3. Rowan Harris finished on the podium last week, just out of it this week in P4. Michelle Wallace was the leader for the majority. We will hear from him in a moment's time. Finishes out in P5. Kyle Barrett as well just passes in P6. Mornay Deploy in P7. Matthew Titus and Rushda as well have already passed. Ricardo Swaby in P8, P9, P10 to finish out the points positions. And what an evening of racing this has been. Michael Thompson as well comes to finish up. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have interviews in a moment's time. But what an absolutely epic battle this has been. I have no words, to say the least. Congratulations to the drivers. We'll start with Mr. Garcia, then Kadeem, then Diego, as well as Cesar Barahona, Javier Brandao, and Ramiro Dominguez. Ladies and gentlemen, give us a moment's time to get the interviews on the way. So you are now live on our YouTube channel as well. And again, a huge shout out to everybody who stayed through for the YouTube stream as well as the Twitch stream over at MarkRyu45. This has been an absolutely epic evening of racing, to say so myself. And just a huge reminder, the race tomorrow at Special Chaos will not be on the Jsra YouTube. We'll be supporting our friends from Sim Racers Room. So if you are in our Discord or our Instagram, please feel free to stay tuned there, and we'll be posting the streaming links for the GT3 Championship that we have on the way. It's round 2 tomorrow at Daytona, and that race is going to be absolutely epic. But that being said, for his debut here, Mr. Cesar Barahona. Oh, I think I just took him out of a conversation. Cesar, how are you?
I'm speaking Spanish, or I have to speak in English for the interview?
Probably English preferable.
Preferably.
Okay.
Right, but you can still do your Spanish after every response, so you know your viewers can stay tuned to whatever you've been
Sure, you can
saying.
do both, yeah.
Okay.
All right, bro. Well, firstly, again, huge congratulations. It was an absolutely epic podium for you, especially your first here at the JSRA. I would love your first initial thoughts of the race, what you thought coming in, and you know, what were your expectations at the end of it?
Well, first of all, this race, I want to finish without incident, without crashes. Like the last race, I crashed with the wall and I have to retire the car.
Yeah.
And this race, I take some conservative, some carefully. With the car, with the pace, with the track, and I just want to finish without incident, and I think at the end was a great race. I don't expect to be in the podium, but with the setup and the car, it was a very safe, balanced setup. And I feel comfortable and well in the end I all pay out, I finish in the podium and that's the good part.
Absolutely.
Al final, bueno, hablando un poco en español, realmente quería terminar la carrera sin incidentes. Como dije, la primera carrera fue desastrosa. Choqué el carro y realmente tuve que retirarme, así que no tenía ningún punto, creo. Y bueno, era tratar de terminarla y tratar de tener algo de ritmo y no involucrarme en ningún accidente. Creo que al inicio me faltó ritmo y bueno, dejé pasar a varios pilotos que venían más rápido y bueno, ya cuando empecé a gestionar un poco el carro y a sentirme más cómodo, empecé entonces a presionar y bueno, terminé podio.
Well, and then my next question, though, you had some really fun battles, especially with Casey Jackman, the Trinidad driver. How was that battle for you, especially on a track like Bahrain with those GT3 cars? How was the battle for you overall? And were there any other battles that stood out to you?
Well, in the beginning, I think was Vicente da Silva.
Yep.
I think Brandao. I think other cars passed me in the straight and I let them go because I know that I don't have the pace to battle, and I don't want to get involved in any robbing or any crash with them. Yes, I think with the LMP2,
Yeah.
don't have any contact or any incident. I think the behavior was good. I think all the LMP2 passed me in the straights, and think at the end was good. Al final, creo que como estaba comentando con Ramiro, no tuve ningún incidente con los LMP2, aunque sí tenía un poco de miedo en el sector del medio que no sabía si se iban a lanzar o no en la frenada. Creo que al final se comportaron muy bien, por lo menos conmigo, y me pasaban siempre en las rectas y no hacían así ni nada errático, pues.
Mark, you have any questions?
Yeah, Cesar, great race, and I wanted to know, how'd you like the multi-class battle then with the GT3s and trying to fight through them? It was quite difficult. Obviously, you have to see all those LMP2s around you, and that's obviously quite difficult to manage. How'd you like that?
Oh well, first I don't have much time playing in PC. I come from console with Gran Turismo 7. With Assetto Corsa, and I have only I say 3-4 months at least playing Le Mans. I in love with the game. Risk to crash with the speed that they have, and to race with LMP2 that are not that fast in the straight, or have a ton of downforce. It's more balance and with less risk of crash, I think.
Yeah, I mean the hypercars are just a completely different world, right? It's many seconds ahead of the LMP2s.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a whole different race, that one. But no hypercars in this, and so maybe it's a little bit easier to manage. But that being said, they're still prototypes and still much quicker than the GT3s. But yeah, on the GT3s, it's easier to maybe balance the car through some of those corners. You know, tricky turn 10, that left-hander there. And then I know there was quite a bit of interesting battles with traffic through turn 1.
Yeah.
And so explain maybe, is the car a little bit easier, the GT3 in LMU? I've heard other drivers say, or at least compared to other simulators, it's very different how they handle.
Well, I think with the LMGT3, first of all, they have ABS that is good. I think with the weight transfer and the inputs, I'm talking to braking and turning, compared with other consoles, you have to be more careful with the inputs and the trail braking with these cars. I think you have to set up the car with your capabilities, with the throttle, adjust the traction control, the brake bias, understand what the cars like, what don't like. But in general, you have to be more careful with the inputs. With the weight transfer, entering the corner, you have to be more careful that other consoles to drive the car, to take the car around the corner, around the apex, and with the throttle also.
Oh, okay.
But it's not so difficult. But I don't know if Gran Turismo teach you something about the real simulation or what, but coming from console and these games, I think they teach you you the basics of weight transfer, of braking, throttle control, and when I came to this platform, it's not so difficult to be in the pace or understand the car behavior. I don't know. I think there's some base in the driving that helped me to understand more quick the game.
By the way, I do love your Iron Lynx livery, I must say. Very nice, Lamborghini.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Cesar. Congratulations. Good luck in, round 3.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Caesar,
Appreciate
it was epic to have you, bro. Congrats on your first podium here, and looking forward to next week race with you. And huge congrats again.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Bless you. Have a good night. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Cesar Barahona, P3 in the GT3s. Now we have Daniel Garcia, his debut here as well, and finishing off in P3. So a huge debut for him in LMP2 class. Daniel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, first of all, man, happy to have you here. Huge congratulations. What a epic battle that was, especially with the pit stops and fighting for P3 at a point. I'm gonna pull that up on the stream now. But yeah, any initial thoughts?
This is actually my second race because I raced 8 days ago in Monza.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. And yeah, it was very frustrating being behind Casey because I knew I had more pace than her, but I just couldn't get past her. And yeah, it was very frustrating. And I also got lucky that Velez he got a drive through. So yeah, I also got a position from there, but overall I'm very happy.
Yeah, could that battle between Casey, between you, it was you and Daniel chasing on Casey at first. Daniel got through, and then you made a move on Casey. That was absolutely epic, if I do say so myself. But could I get your reaction to that battle?
I was just extremely frustrated because I was behind her for like 8 laps, maybe.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking about doing an undercut.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing an undercut and just pass her in thin air. But she made a mistake in the final corner exit. And I just took the opportunity to go side by side.
Yeah.
And I managed to go past her.
Okay. Sorry to correct you. Casey's is a guy.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry
fine.
for Casey as well.
That's fine. But yeah, no, that battle, you got a lot of stream time there. It was absolutely epic. Even seeing your livery and all. But yeah, Mark, you have any questions?
First off, congratulations then, P3 and LMP2. The question was, like, you say it was frustrating. How frustrating was it seeing P2, P1 pull ahead and you fighting with Casey Jackman there for that final step of the podium? Where is the pace do you think you can find on the track if you had, the second opportunity to try again?
I'm not sure because in the first stint I was sure I could be fighting for P1 if I were to pass Casey. But in the second stint I just felt very disconnected with the car. My tires were very worn out. I also did a nasty lockup. So in the second stint I was definitely I could be falling behind. So I think in the end I finished what I deserved, more or less.
It was an epic race. I don't know if you want to repeat your response in Spanish for the viewer. Please feel free. But
Pues, me repites, answer. Can you repeat the original question, please?
Oh, well, the original question was, I believe it was, you were fighting with Cozy Jackman, but you were seeing P2 and P1, they were pulling away, and so if you had the chance to do it again, how could you potentially find more pace out on the track?
Vale, pues en el primer stint sí hubiera podido seguir a los líderes de la categoría, pero ya en el segundo stint las llantas estaban muy muertas y no los hubiera podido seguir. Entonces al final siento que quedé más o menos donde el ritmo me hubiera dejado ir.
all right. Well, Daniel, again, huge congratulations. I enjoyed that battle. I remember you sent a dive on Casey at a point, and I was sad. I think that's where I lost my voice, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I am looking forward to seeing you next week as we head to Kota. Any expectations as we head into round 3?
I think Kota is the track I hate the most in the world, so it will be fun.
Well,
And I also would like to thank you because this league has been very, very fun and interesting. So huge thank you for organizing all of this stuff.
well, thank you. We wouldn't have this league if we didn't have you guys. So I am happy that we can, provide a community that's conducive to such epic racing, and I believe it's only higher from here. But just to give you a little bit of comfort, we are using the national circuit, so it's a little bit easier than the full Kota layout. I mean, well, for the GT3s at least, I can't imagine how it's going to be for the LMP2s. But yeah, again, thank you for joining. Mark, any final question?
Well, I must say that restart was very good from the first original full course yellow, and so originally he was back in P5. I just want to give props because you made a position up right there on the restarts, and then you kind of went off the track, as I'm kind of looking at the replay now, and it was all hectic. But do you think avoiding all the other opponents, it was kind of difficult to do, but once you got in the groove, things were maybe a little bit easier?
Yeah, I think avoiding the group, I kind of good at that, avoiding accidents and all of that stuff. I remember I went deep into the first safety car because I thought that we could go back to our original positions, but it was my mistake. But I also didn't feel much frustrated because of that. It was like, okay, shit happens.
All right, there you go. Well, thank you so much, Daniel Garcia, and congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you to you as well, Mark.
Absolutely, and thank you, Daniel. Have a great evening and rest of the day and a good weekend.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Daniel Garcia. Finished P3 for the GT3 class. Now we will have Mr. Javier Brandao, who did finish last week's race in a dominant fashion in front of his teammate in Vincent da Silva, but he won last week's race at Monza, finishes off his weekend in P2, starting further back the grid, so I had some work to do. But Javier, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you okay.
Well, 2 weeks in a row we're seeing you here. Hoping you're not tired of my voice just too much yet.
No, not at all.
Well, Javier, as always, it's always epic to have you, bro. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the race, especially, I'm not sure if you heard back from Vince about what had happened. But yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that race, finishing off in P2. What an epic result.
Yeah. Again, we prepare for the long run, keeping a steady pace, and it all played out just fine. Ramiro had a good pace. We were starting to catch up, but we decided to play a little bit safe at the end and not risk what we already had with the advantage of the first place on the first race.
Yeah.
So everything played out. For Vince, he was there in the pack, but he had like a power surge and his monitor went out.
Oh no.
That's why he had to
Oh.
stop there for a while and then restart.
Ouch, ouch. Well, thank you for the clarification. I remember there was a battle, we'll have it up on the stream now, between yourself and Mr. Barahona there in the yellow
Yeah.
Lamborghini. Could you, and even, I think, who was in front of him? I think
Vince.
it was Vince, right?
Cesar and I.
Right.
Yeah, we did a few laps there.
Could you walk us through that battle?
Well, again, I'm trying to keep a steady pace. I was, waiting for them to make a mistake, but they were both very good drivers. They kept everything going smooth. So I just stayed there long enough until the stop. No, actually, no. I did overtake Cesar.
You did?
Now that I remember.
Yeah.
I think he did. He took a wide turn, and I was able to get in.
Yep.
The inside lane.
But, yeah, sorry.
The decisive part was definitely the pit stop.
So that's where my next question was, because you made up 2 positions out of the pit stop, which basically put you into P2. I'm assuming you didn't go for tires?
Nope, no tires, and I was able to bring down the amount of fuel. So
The safety car.
I brought it down to I just had 1 extra lap
Oh, wow.
at the sticker flag. So that's a couple of seconds saved there made a difference.
Absolutely. Because you and Ramiro came out so much further than Vince and Mission Wallace. We'd love to hear what happened with Mission as well, but unfortunately we won't get him tonight. But yeah, Mark, any final questions?
Yeah, Javier Brando, congratulations, great finish. And I must say, you probably were one of the best drivers in the field, considering how much you made up from the start. And I was just watching from that full course yellow just a moment ago. Sim just crashed, but I was watching a moment ago, right up, a couple of laps after that, and how you were just absolutely dominating against those other fellow GT3s. And so to finish second out of that by the end of the race is absolutely fantastic. What do you have to say about working through the field then across that 45 minutes?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. For some reason we're not having a good pace as far as fast laps or qualifying, but it seems to play out good. When we have a full tank of gas. So I remember I saw a couple cars spin out. I was able to dodge them just fine. Maybe the rest of the pack was not able to go through as cleanly as I did. But yeah, I was also surprised catching up those positions so early in the race. But then we ran into Vince and Cesar, and the real race started.
The real race started indeed, and then you were going along with Vince, and Vince was doing well up until that incident, and I'm not entirely sure what happened, because on our screen we just saw him just stop on the track, and there was no explanation at that point why, and now we eventually found out why. But and so yeah, I mean, obviously fellow GT Panama drivers that were running in this race, they were actually doing fairly well, and shout out with Ramiro as well, and any of the others I possibly missed. Diego is up there. Yeah, the real race begun, and so what do you have to say about the GT Panama team and what they were achieving tonight?
Yeah, well, we're doing very well. We're happy with the result. Ramiro also had a very good pace last race, but he had a problem there with calculating the virtual energy and got penalized with that. But he signed up today and took the win, so that will be a good interview with
Absolutely. All right. Well, are you looking forward to Kota next time round then?
Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. I hope, Javier, I hope you enjoy, okay?
Most certainly. Thank you guys for putting this show together.
Of course.
As I said, thank you for joining, bro. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a show, and especially to see your strategies working out, and even the moves. We just saw it on the replay. That dive on Cesar, and what a move that was. And I'm looking forward to more as we head into Kota for round 3. So huge congrats again, bro, and I'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you too. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Javier Brandao. Right now we have the pole sitter from the LMP2 class was quicker by a full second. I think it was about 8.5 to 9/10 of a second in front of the field. That safety car brought him down to P3, fought his way back. Then we'd love to, well, let's hear it from him first. Driver number 246, Mr. Kadim Mohammed, caught back up to the likes of Diego on the final lap. What a battle that was, if I do say so myself.
It was a great final lap.
He just needed one more lap. But yes, let's hear from Mr. Mohammed himself. Kadim, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Kadim, brother, again, huge congratulations. Always a pleasure. It was sad when we didn't have you last week, but glad that we have you back for this week. And especially with what you showed us. Could you give us your thoughts on the race? Well, we'll talk about the safety car and what had happened there. But yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the race.
Well, that was my first time doing a race over 20 minutes in LMU, so that was a bit of a learning curve. I never done the pit stop thing, and I quickly realized that I was not good at it for the first time. So I was the only boy to change tires, I think, which put me about a good 12 seconds behind the leader.
That was my next question, right?
So yeah, but it's funny. I was just trying to flick back and see how much I could gain. Also, I was watching my fuel because I wasn't sure if I was able to make it to the end, but I had enough. So I could have pushed harder, but I was lifting the course a lot, or like sharp shifting. So maybe if I would have just kept on pushing, it maybe would have done it.
Well, my next question now, because that battle with Diego, I mean, you had to catch him back. We missed it on the stream. But watching it now, what were your thoughts on having to catch back Diego, pass him, and then hunt down the likes of sorry, was it Diego? Was it Jackman? Sorry. You had to pass Jackman, my apologies, Casey Jackman, and then hunt down Diego. Could you give us your thoughts when you passed him? You had a 10-second gap in 10 minutes to overcome, so you're basically about a minute faster per lap. Or second faster per lap, sorry. Could you give us your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, Casey come out ahead of me like 3 laps into my second stint, and he either he had cold tires or something, but he was just real slow at that point in time. I caught him, so it was easy to get past him. And then from there, it was just head down and trying to push, and I was sweating bullets. I tried to catch him each time I see him. Oh yeah. So when I got past him, it was just head down and try to see how far I could get. It was fun.
Yes, well, Kadim, this is certainly different from what we were talking about back in CTCC and all the bad luck you had there. And so this was almost a reversal of what we'd seen. And my oh my, what a race that could have been if you could have just had one more lap to get it done. We were truly looking at it, and we saw the purple sector 1 and we're like, oh, it might actually be possible, and then it was just not enough right at the end, couple of tenths. But tell us, I mean, that catch up there, I mean, it was truly impressive. I mean, talk about it. Was it difficult? You know, I know you had a couple of wiggles, you know, almost, you know, going into the wall there, you know, you had to save it. Was it tough on the curbs? How was it?
Well, the braking on the car, you have to be like bang on, like very precise, because the LMP2s have no ABS, so you gotta be very, very, very precise with the braking, and you could gain like lots of time if you get the braking spot on. Like I've been watching mine on YouTube, Twitch, like brake 50 meters later than me just because they're that good on brakes. So there's a lot of time to gain with LMP2s, and it's just down to your confidence on the brakes perfectly fine. So that's where it was gaining majority of my time.
And the battle with Cisneros was very good, and I'm watching on my screen right now, and you were just kind of following along with him, and this was kind of about 16, 20 minutes into the race, and like there were times you were right on the back of him, and you just couldn't quite, get it done. And so, I mean, talk about it. Was it difficult to try and get by, and because he managed to keep that lead the whole time there? Was it difficult? And also explain the pit stop sequence as well, which some drivers had already mentioned. It was kind of catching them off guard, the change of tires and such.
Yeah, well, in the beginning part, when I was trying to get back to the lead, it was hard because we both were on a pretty similar pace, so it was hard for me to get past at that moment. And the pit stops, as I said, I have never done the pit stop before, so I just took fuel and tires. I was not really sure if I could have made it to the end on one set, so I just played it safe and took both fuel and tires.
Okay. Well, describe the traffic then, as of course you would have had to have gone around the GT3s. And I mentioned this in one of the prior interviews. When the GT3 driver had to watch for the LMP2s, and they were talking about, well, it's not a hypercar, so it's a little bit easier. They're still quite quicker than you, and you guys are quite quicker than them. And so, was it hard trying to navigate the traffic, especially in corners such as turn 10 and such, or did you think it was quite good?
I didn't have any problem navigating traffic. Everybody did. Everybody kept the line or made it obvious what they were going to do. So it was easy to predict where to go.
All right. Well, good luck out at Circuits of the Americas then. I heard a lot of drivers don't really like that circuit, although it is the national circuit variant. So, any thoughts on that before you head into next week?
Well, I don't know what to say. I don't like it either, but I gotta practice it.
Well, good luck. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you then.
Yeah, thanks.
Kadeem, congrats again, brother, and looking forward to seeing you in the next round. And if there's any showcase of today, I definitely cannot wait to see what's next. So huge congrats, bro, and I'll see you again soon.
All right, thanks.
All right. And that was driver number 246, Kadeem Mohammed. We'll now have the winner of the GT3 class, Mr. Ramiro Dominguez. Huge shout out to you, Ramiro, and your team. Huge congratulations winning the race this evening and finishing in P1. Strategy looked like it played a huge role. Would love to hear your thoughts because your undercut on Michelle Wallace was just daunting. But yeah, just want to get your thoughts on the race before we get going.
Steven, thank you. Bring to Diego for traduction.
Sorry?
I don't speak in English.
Oh, okay.
Diego.
Okay, so we have the two GT Panama drivers now coming in. Ramiro will be talking in Spanish and we'll ask Diego to translate first.
Interpret.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello.
And funny enough, they're the two that were on the top of the podium. So I guess might as well we'll just have the interview with both of you one time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Diego, we're asking Ramiro just his overall thoughts on the race.
Okay.
As well as his pit strategy. What were his thoughts when he saw the undercut go on Michelle Wallace, who looks like he took too much fuel?
Ramiro, que la parada, ¿cómo la viste? Y que lo del undercut con Mitchell.
Bueno, la verdad fue que calculé la parada con mi compañero Camilo. Él me ayudó en el tema de la gasolina. Y nos arriesgamos, pusimos la gasolina justa, no cambiamos neumáticos y pudimos hacerle el undercut a Mitchell, ¿no?
Sí. Well, basically, our trusty engineer Camilo helped Ramiro with the fuel, calculating the fuel, so he managed to get through the end of the race just with the exact fuel needed. to finish. And also he didn't change the tires, so when he was coming out of the pits and he saw that he was ahead of a Mitchell, he was a bit of a surprise, but in a good way, you know. So he managed to stay ahead. Sí, de la batalla con César y alguna que otra batalla que tuviste durante la carrera.
Bueno, al principio traté de seguir al P1 lo más cerca posible. No tuve una batalla real con nadie, sí, ciertamente cometí algunos errores, Vicente se me acercó, pero sí fue una carrera bastante tranquila.
Okay, basically at the end, I mean, at the beginning, he just tried to follow the rhythm and the pace of P1. And then he didn't actually have a whole battle with Cesar Vince, but it was more of a couple of corners action, you know. But apart from that, overall for him was a pretty chill race, if you could say it like that. Pretty lonely race for him.
Yeah, first off, Ramiro, well, long time no see. It's been a while since I've seen you out on the track. Yeah, it's been quite a while, back from GT Panama's days. But first off, well, how are you? And second of all, good race. And so what do you think in that BMW? What do you think of the car and the handling of it and trying to, well, work your way up into the podium positions which you got?
Bueno, primero que todo, Ramiro, te dice que un gusto verte de nuevo, que ha sido bastante tiempo de no verte por acá por la pista, por lo menos Mark. Y que cómo estás y que cómo has sentido el BM, tus pensamientos sobre el coche, el BM, cómo se ha manejado, qué tal lo has sentido en pista y tal.
Yo originalmente la primera fecha fui con el Corvette, practiqué algo en la semana para ir con el Ferrari, pero son carros muy asesinos. Decidí hoy irme con el BMW porque entendía que era un poco más dócil, ya que no había practicado esta pista mucho. Y bueno, sí, la verdad dio sus resultados. Es un carro bastante dócil y fácil de llevar. No es adecuado para mi gusto, no me gustan los carros así, me gustan que sobregiren un poco más, pero hizo el trabajo y mantuvo una carrera limpia y segura sobre todo.
Well, basically, good to see you as well from Rio. And then, well, at the beginning, he was a bit hesitant with the car. He started last race with the Corvette. Throughout the week, he was testing the Ferrari, but at the end of the day, he didn't feel comfortable with any of those. So, since it was a bit of a tricky track here in Bahrain, he made the decision to go with the BMW. It's, I think, also the car that has the best balance and overall kind of like the one that you can go the most safely around the track. And then, well, he just hopped in the car. I could say around 2 hours ago, gave a couple of laps around the track, and he managed to find the setup. And he managed to find a setup that it was comfortable and safe, which was the important thing to manage to get throughout the field and finish the race in the podium.
And so my second question is to Ramiro, what do you think about Circuit of the Americas coming up? Are you ready for that track? It seems most people are not excited about it. What are your thoughts on COTA?
¿Qué esperas de COTA y qué pensamientos tienes de la pista?
COTA es una pista que poco a poco me ha ido agradando. No es de mis favoritas, me cuesta mucho, pero vamos a practicar y a ver qué nos depara la próxima fecha.
So basically, he says that it's a track that a little bit, bit by bit, has been growing into him. He has been adapting a bit more to the track. but it's still a track that it's a bit difficult for him. But he's gonna work throughout the week to manage to get a setup and the pace to hopefully finish in the podium again.
It's the first one that doesn't appear to be I don't like it, so that's a good thing. And good luck to you, Ramiro. And we'll see you next week then out there. Best of luck to you in the BMW.
Básicamente que gracias y que Charo la GT en Panamá y que congratulations y felicitaciones por el P1. ¿Algo que quieras decir más? ¿Añadir?
No, gracias. Ok. Ok. Sí, ya.
Well, the safety car, both safety cars actually were kind of good for me because I managed to go in a better strategy. I was hesitant at the beginning if I should run the fuel tank or maybe go with fuel for 8 laps or so to maybe go for a 2-stop. And I made a mistake in the setup. I didn't change the fuel. I just loaded the setup and I didn't change the fuel. And when I was into the grid, I was like, okay, I have full tank. And well, safety car came out, so it was good because I was able to also manage to save a bit of fuel. And then, well, the first restart was a bit chaotic.
Okay.
We all went off into turn 1. So there I managed to get, I think, a position, and I was running P3, I believe.
Yeah.
And then into turn 10, I think it was, the driver in front of me, I think it was Shakir. He went off a bit, and then it was just up to me and Kadim.
Mm-hmm.
He was really, really fast. I was really putting the work. I was really sweaty going down turn 10 and most of the turns. He had an incredible pace. After 3 or 5 laps, I think I made a mistake also into turn 10, and he managed to get past me. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm going in a different strategy. I'm just gonna try to stick behind him, not put too much pressure on my tires because I knew I wasn't gonna change tires. So I didn't want to lock up and flat spot the tires, you know. So after he got past me, it was just trying to manage the race and try to stay within 2 seconds or so behind him.
Absolutely. And then you went into the pit stops and you came out ahead of him by 10 seconds. I'm assuming you didn't go for tires, which looked really promising up until the final lap. I mean, you saw that gap dwindling. Was that lap traffic or was it just the tires just went dead?
It was a bit of both. Before I was going into the pit stop, I already knew I wasn't gonna change tires, but I wasn't sure how much wear I had on my tires. So when I went in, I think it was 70% highs on the left side, and on the right side it was like around 86%. So I was like, okay, with this I can surely go to the end of the race.
Yeah.
There was 16 or 18 minutes remaining. I was like, I also had to save some fuel because I filled the exact amount of fuel that I needed, and then I had to do 2 laps of fuel save. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it through the end. But yeah, it was a bit of a mix of things. I knew Karim was gonna catch up to me. I didn't know how fast he was gonna catch up. So when I came out of the pits and it was, I think, around 10-12 seconds, I was like, okay, I can save a little bit of fuel, and then maybe at the last 3-4 laps he's gonna catch up, and then maybe we have a battle and see what happens, you know.
Yeah.
But I think if he was, as you guys were saying before, if he was 1 more lap, he probably would have gone past me. I wouldn't have gone too defensive on him. I knew that I didn't have the tires. I knew I didn't have that much crazy pace, so I wouldn't have made him like his life hard on if he was going for the overtake. But overall, I really enjoy the battles that I had with him.
Absolutely. My final point before Mark goes, I remember there was a battle, we just showed it on the replay. Kadim was just trying his best, but you just knew exactly where to park that car, and you just had to hold him up, which was great for you, hard for him. But yeah, just huge congratulations, bro. It was an epic showcase, and I am looking forward to Kota next week. Mark.
Yes, so well, Diego, congratulations, fantastic race today, and I must say, the LMP2 must be your car then. I mean, fantastic. What do you have to say then about, well, I'd say the battle. There was a small battle, I guess. And you know, Kadim Mohammed, what do you have to say about the others behind Garcia, Jackman, and such in your LMP2 class when it came to battling for this win today?
Well, I really like the class. Actually, you nailed it there. It's one of my favorite class, along with the hypercars. I really enjoy driving them. The LMP2s, I think, is the sweet spot. They're really fun to drive. You can have really, really good battles with other drivers that are really skilled, that have really good skill. And yeah, so far, just enjoying it a lot. I've been enjoying it a lot. I was really excited for this track. It's a track that I kind of feel comfortable. And then in the qualifying, it was a bit of a mess. I wasn't feeling comfortable with the setup of the car. I changed setup at the end before my last lap of qualifying. And then I think I started P7 or P6. I managed to gain a position in the opening lap, and then throughout the safety car and everything else, well, managed to get my way and make my way back to the field. But a really, really good level. I think there was one driver that was missing from the last race. I think it was Osimar, if I'm not mistaken.
Omar.
He had really, really good. Yeah, Omar.
Yeah.
He had a really, really good pace last race. I was hoping to run into him in this track. Lucky he couldn't make it, but hopefully he signs up for the next one and we get some good battles going on in Kota.
Absolutely.
So that's why he's not in the race. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, so what's the secret then to driving the LMP2? Because it is a difficult car to drive, at least for me. I'm not a very good driver, but it is a difficult car to drive sometimes, and it does have a heck of a lot of downforce, but it's obviously not as quick as a, say, hypercar or GTP, whatever you call it. And so, what is the secret to driving it quickly in LMU?
For me, I think it is having trust in the car and on the braking, because you can lock up so easily if you apply the wrong brake pressure. So I think it all relies on the brake, and it all comes down to the braking and how well you can trail into the corners. For example, in this track, most corners, if you enter into the corner just trailing throughout the whole time, the car is just gonna kind of like lose the rear a bit, and he's just gonna kind of like enter into the corner. At least that's how I like it to drive. And then when you just go on the throttle, you're just gonna stick to the road and get a lot of traction, you know. But I think all comes down to the braking, having a good technique on the braking, trailing as much as possible so that you don't lock up the rears. And then there was actually kind of like I think it's pretty common, but if you have the audio of the car, you can hear actually when you hit the brake, and you're gonna hear the brake at the end going a bit of like a little bit of a screech. So when you hear that screech, go off the pedal a bit, and then you're just gonna see how the car goes into the corner. I think that's the best that I can give you guys.
I see, a screech, Stephen, is what he described. I guess you just have to hear it to believe it. But yes, all right. And so, well, I will try and take that into my testing sessions. And so then in that case, is there anything you want to say to any of the other drivers as we continue on to Circuits of the Americas?
No, just to keep coming. It's been great. The level of the field, it's amazing. There are some really good battles. I was really looking forward to fighting with Garcia and Velez. I think it was. I had a bit of a moment with them at the beginning, but thanks to the pace and to the strategy, I managed to go in front. But yeah, well, thank you guys for putting all this together. Shout out to the people on the stream, and well, really happy for the GDP performance this race, and really looking forward into Kota.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. And Diego, as always, brother, it was epic having you and looking forward to more battles with you. I mean, you've been watching your highlights now. I'm just enamored. I'm mesmerized at the fighting. So hopefully we can get Omar back in for next week. I know he was tentative from before, so I think he should be. I think he should be back, as well as a few others for next week. So looking forward to it, man. And again, huge congratulations to you, bro.
Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the night.
You too.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.
There's no Jaden Harris in this race either, Stephen, which was another one that we missed out on, potential big battle.
Right,
He's very
Jaden
quick.
unfortunately is not in the country at the moment, but we'll be back for hopefully round 4 in time.
Round 4, okay.
Right, he flies back in, I think after round 3. So, yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, we still have some good battles. Miss him, but he'll be back soon. But that being said, Mark, this does bring this stream to a conclusion. Your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is, I think driver of the day, I probably has to. Well, we could probably do one from each class, couldn't we? But from the LMP2s for sure, I think it has to go to Kadeem Mohammed,
Absolutely.
and he almost came for the win there, and he had one more lap. He probably would have gotten that, I think, and so I probably have to give it to Kadeem Mohammed. And Bernard Grandin, by the way, otherwise known as AJ Martin, he said he wanted an interview. I told him to join cool down room if he wanted to do it, but he didn't join. But I don't know, if you want Bernard Grandin, you have to join now, but that's not my decision. And then for GT3 then, I don't know, who would you think for GT3, Stephen? Because there's so many just fantastic drivers in that class. It'd probably have to be one of the front runners there as well, if I had to guess.
To be honest, Kyle Barrett was one of those that I was very fascinated with. Kyle got taken out in lap 1, fought his way back up, and he was just slicing. Excuse me, it's my braces. I don't have a list. He was just slicing through the field, and it was an epic watch. Michelle as well had a brilliant race up until that pit disaster. Because he looked enamored. Vince as well was having a brilliant race as well. So the GT3 class could go either way. I personally, I don't know. I think I'd have given it to Kyle. I think he came 6th in the long run, or 5th. I'd have to double check the standings, but he was my driver of the day, or at least one of the head-in votes for the GT3. Kadeem and Daniel Velez were my 2 votes for the LMP2. Daniel was absolutely brilliant up until that
incident.
stop.
Yeah.
I think it was a stop and go or a drive-through penalty, whichever one it was. But at the
It's
end
been
of
an
the day,
unfortunate race for Velez again today,
Absolutely.
unfortunately. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Javier Brando, I think, P2 as well. It's not that I'm choosing the P2s on purpose, I'm just saying that I think Brando had a fairly
he did
good
have
race
a really good race. Absolutely.
going up through that field. So honestly, I think if you are making moves, if you are going up through the field and keeping it clean, I think that serves as a good indicator of who the driver of the day should be. So I'll give him that for GT3.
Absolutely. There are so many good drivers this evening. But yeah, again, I was just watching Kyle at points, and I was just like, this man is just cutting through the field lap after lap. It was a huge showcase from him as well. But yeah, I guess position does matter as well. But nonetheless, it was an epic evening of racing. Rowan Harris as well started down the pack and ended up in P4. Just a quick note, but yeah, Anyways, long story short, it was
There
an
you go.
epic evening of racing, and I enjoyed every moment of it. So that does bring our stream to an end. We do have Kota, the national circuit next, the national layout next week. So I am looking forward to that one. And yes, it has been an absolute epic evening of racing. I'm a little bit tired now. And looking forward to rest.
I'm excited. I enjoyed the race, actually, I must say. I very much enjoyed the race, and I love multi-class racing. You know me, Stephen. I'm excited to see more of this. Circuit of the Americas will be an interesting one. I don't know if the National Circuit has the run up to turn 1, but that'll be very interesting going up the hill into that corner at the start of the next race.
Absolutely. And just a huge shout out again. We will be having the GT3 Championship on iRacing tomorrow from the Sim Racers room. Their own championship. We had round 1 at Silverstone last week, and it was, if not as exciting, it was very close. So if you guys, and we have more drivers coming in this week as well, so if you want to join us for some fun at Daytona tomorrow, please stay tuned to the Sim Racers room YouTube. The link will be posted in our Discord as well as our YouTube link, so please take the time, look for them out. It's an absolutely awesome battle. So that does bring a conclusion from my end, Mark.
Yeah, Stephen. Well, thank you so much. Make sure. I don't know if if the folks get to vote the driver of the day or if it's just us deciding, but make sure to do that if you can vote for it. And aside from that, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. It's great having you as always, and hopefully next time out at Kota we have a fantastic race as well. We have a fantastic turnout, it seems, of people, which is just amazing to see. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, and it's been an awesome evening of racing. I am Steven Stewart, and that is Mark Rio over at Mark Rio 45, and we bid you a very well good night.